Welcome to Who Let the Dogs Out, the podcast designed to help you enjoy life with your best friend without all the frustrations. Join us each week as we help families across the country do just that. I'm your host, Corey, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Sally.
Yep, and today we are talking about all things crate training. So we've got a bunch of different stuff here, but we're doing a dog talk. We'll explain what that means in a minute, but we're going to be talking about all things crate training, why it's important, how to do it, how to get your dog to not potty in there, where to put it, different types of crates, things like that. So if you're wanting to crate your dog, you think it might be useful sometimes, your dog doesn't like the crate, you're getting a puppy and don't know how to crate train, this will be a really good comprehensive episode of like everything crate training basically. So if you want to learn about that, stick with us till the end. We've also got a lot of fun segments coming up, like some dog news, and Sally said she's got some funny jokes, so we'll test it out.
I've got a joke that's going to make you go, ooh.
That doesn't sound like a joke. Anyways.
It's going to make you groan.
Anyways,
sorry,
okay.
Interrupting.
Anyways, for those of you that are new to the show, and we have a lot of new viewers this week because of the subscribers, which we'll talk about in a minute. But my name's Corey. I'm the founder of Wonder Dog. We've been in business since the first day of 2018. We've helped thousands of families across multiple cities and multiple states. And our big goal here is just to help people enjoy life with their best friend without all the frustrations. And it's my honor and privilege to get to help people do that. So that's who I am, and this is.
I'm Sally. I'm behind the scenes. Phone calls, inventory, pay, you name it, I do it.
Yeah, she does a little bit of everything. Kind of keeps us running behind the scenes, like she said. So in terms of formats, we've got two main formats on the show and some other ones coming up that we've done in the past and coming up in as this year progresses. But the big one that we're doing today is called Dog Talk. That's where Sally and I come on and talk about a topic related to dogs, dog ownership, dog training, something along those lines there. And then we've also got Q&A, which is a lot of fun because you guys send in the questions and we give you the answers. So if they want to write in a question, they can reach you at
Sally at wonderdogtraining.com.
Yep, or you can hit me at Corey from Wonderdog on Instagram, and you can write your questions in there, give us show feedback, whatever you want to. You can also leave a comment down below as well if you want to, and we'll pick out questions from the comments too. So, that's kind of the formats. We've got some interviews coming up that we've got coming down the pipeline. As we continue to grow the show, we want to start hosting debates between other professionals on different viewpoints of different things related to dogs, dog training, veterinary services, feeding, things like that. So want to, eventually host live shows too. So anyways, that's what we're doing as we continue to grow the show, which I guess speaking of, we've got some exciting news. Very
exciting.
Now, I don't really know why I didn't think of this beforehand, but I really started pressing the trainers this week to get all their clients to subscribe to the show. And I've mentioned it before, but this time I was like, y'all better get your clients to subscribe to the show. So if you're a client and your trainer referred them to the show, that's why, because I was telling them that they better. And we might be hosting a fun competition for them for whoever gets the most subscribers. Anyways, with that being said, though, we've got some big numbers to report this week. So let me grab the subscriber board. So last week when we did the show, my numbers are getting messed up on the side here. So real quick, 120, 130. 170. All right. Anyways, last week when we did the show, you can see we were at 172 subscribers, which is awesome. And our big goal was to get to 200 by the end of the year last year. It didn't happen, but we made it to, I think, like 165, something like that. Anyways, we were excited regardless, nonetheless. Yeah. But we ended up jumping up to 172. And then this week, after pressing the trainers real hard to subscribe people to the show and spread the word, we jumped to 190 across all platforms. So that's an 18 subscriber follower week over week jump. So I'm going to color that in for you guys right now and then show it to you. Also, thank you guys so much, all of our new subscribers and listeners and stuff like that. So scoot this guy over real quick. And while I'm doing that, Sally's going to keep going.
Well,
because I have to focus.
Well, you focus with your colouring in. Don't go out of the lines.
Hey, you watch it.
But no, that was a really good idea, telling the trainers to mention it to clients, because you've got whenever we do like a dog talk, you've got really, lots and lots of information, good free information to share with them. And also when people are writing in and have got a question, they might be going through the exact same thing. And then they'll be like, oh, it's not just me then. Happens to all of us. So I'm glad they did. Glad they listened to you this time.
Yeah, well, we better keep listening because we're going to keep doing this. But also, and I'm working on it myself too to try to get people at transformation sessions to subscribe.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff out there. I mean, that's really helpful. Like we put out episodes. And so, I mean, a big part of it too is like even the trainers, they can get a lot out of the show.
Absolutely.
Like if they're listening and they just get more ideas, or it puts more stuff in their toolbox or whatnot. Because I can't teach them everything I know.
But it also keeps it fresh.
It does, yeah, absolutely. So, anyways, but that being said, nice and colored in now.
Look at
we are
that.
Up to 190, gang. So we need to hit the 200 mark. So we need 10 more people. So, anyways, that being said, thank you guys, everybody that has been subscribed for a while. All of our new folks, we do really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you. Wouldn't be here without you. So thank you guys so much. Yeah, so if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, if you could, we're really close to hitting our goal of 200 by February 1st. So if you don't mind, hit the subscribe, follow whatever platform you're on button. That would mean the world to us. So and then last thing before you actually jump into the content of the show is just share the show. So if you guys get value out of the show, you've got a friend that's struggling with crate training, you're struggling with crate training, whatever it is, just share the show with a friend. Just tell one person about it, send them a link, something like that. That would mean the world to us as well. Because, once again, our goal here is we're going to keep doing this, whether the subscribers grow, the views grow, we're going to keep doing it. We have a ton of fun doing it every week.
We do.
But it is cool to see those numbers trickling up, week by week. And
we'll take it one at a time.
Yeah, brick by brick, baby.
Brick by brick.
Anyways, all that being said, I guess we should catch up. I did the coolest police dog training the other day.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
There's not much on my side, but tell me all about that.
Yeah. So the other day, I was, our regular listeners know I take Mia to police dog training 2 or 3 times a month or whatnot. And I normally I get to train her with them because she does bite work and finds drugs and stuff. But I also get to work with their dogs and like get in the bite suit and stuff. And that's always a ton of fun for me. So the other day, the local police department I was working with, they brought the drone team out, and they're using like the big drones and their infrared and their night vision and stuff like that. So they had me run down in the woods and go hiding in the woods. And I'm in my big bite suit, and it's completely pitch black. And then all of a sudden there's a drone that's doing a grid pattern above me with like red and green lights on. That's like looking for me. And as soon as it finds me on my heat signature on the infrared, it stops right above me. And then they turn a spotlight on the drone that's just like light me up. Yeah, it's crazy. It was so crazy. And so then, they didn't turn the spotlight on until the last one. So there was four times that they ran 4 different dogs.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they turned the spotlight on the last one, which is crazy because it just kind of like lights up. It wasn't like the brightest spotlight, but it was bright enough to like not be hidden anymore, you know? But it's crazy too, because when it's like pitch black, like the police officers have their flashlights and they're, moving their flashlights and stuff like that. But, what's it called? You can hear their walkie-talkies going, suspects 10 feet forward, 10 feet to the left, and like you can hear them like literally guiding them step by step to exactly where the bad guy is. It was insane. It was crazy. And then the last one, like I said, they turned the drone on. But it's crazy because I was like really putting myself in the mind of a bad guy too. I couldn't go like hiding like too crazy because I was in a big bite suit, but I was like trying to put myself in the mind of a bad guy. So I'm like, hiding in between trees and stuff like that, and like trying to like cover my head because I'm like, I don't know how much heat this bite suit gives out because it's pretty thick. I mean, it's probably like 2 inches thick or something. So it's a pretty thick bite suit. So I'm like, I don't know how much heat it's putting off. So like maybe I could actually hide from this drone or something. Yeah. And then when it found me, I started like flipping it off and like cussing at it and stuff like that. Cause I'm like, I'm a real bad guy today. I'm playing the part today. So, man, it was a ton of fun though. Mia did not get to do that. Unfortunately, we didn't get to work with the drone, but we did do, some narcotics training a little bit later, and she did good at that. So that was good.
So when you're in the woods, it's total blackout darkness.
Yeah. Unless I had my flashlight on, it's completely black. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit of like residual light from the street that's coming in, but it's pretty dark.
But it's pretty dark. They're coming in on you.
Yeah.
And it's only like an exercise.
Yeah.
But did your heart start pounding when they were getting closer to you?
Not really.
No?
Not really. Now, I will say, I mean, I've been doing it with them again for, I don't know, probably like the last like 6 months or so or whatnot. And I'm kind of used to like being back in the bite suit and stuff. Okay. But I did tell like a while back, yes, it did. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast, but when I was 21 and I used to like 2019, 2021, and I used to get bit by like all the police dogs and protection dogs and stuff like that. I was like, I wouldn't call it reckless. Like I was always careful-ish, but like I had no concern of like safety really, other than like, I don't want to get my face bit or anything, but like I didn't really have much of a concern. So when I first started training with this police department many years ago, they made me wear this like dorky helmet where there was like, it was a hockey mask. And so there's a big face mask for like a goalie, right?
Yeah.
And so when I first started training back with them, and now I'm, 28, I'm like a little older, my body doesn't recover as quick as it did, 8 years ago or whatnot. I'm like, in the bite suit, and the dog is like biting me right here. And I started thinking to myself, I'm like, where's the mask? Where's the helmet? Like whatever they used to make me, whenever they used to make me put it on, I never got angry about it, but I was like, this is so dumb. Like the dog, I'm not going to let the dog bite me in the face. And then now like the dog is like definitely not biting me in the face, but I'm like, where's the helmet? Where's the mask at?
The dog's here.
Yeah.
That isn't that far away from your face, is it?
Yeah, if you ever find yourself on the other end of the leash and there is a police dog coming after you, give up. Do yourself a favor, give up, lay on the ground, put your hands behind your back, cross your feet, and don't let the dog bite you because you are toast. Yeah, there's one dog there, and like I've never been bit like that for real. I mean, I've been bit by a number of dogs over the years, but I've never been bit like that before. But if I had to choose between like actually getting bit like for real, like on the bicep or the tricep or the quad or hamstring or something like that, or getting shot, I'd get shot 100%. There's no doubt. I'd rather just get shot and like go to the hospital, get patched up, get some pain pills and some antibiotics and just like, be fine. But I'm like getting bit, like that would wreck you forever. Like, I don't know. It depends on the dog, I guess. But like there's one dog that's there. He's so big. And it's like, even with the bite suit on, it's like, you
can feel that pressure coming through.
Yeah, there's no missing that. Yeah, there's no missing that.
Wow.
Because one time, we talked about this a long time on the podcast, and if you go back to my Corey from Underdog Instagram or the YouTube shorts, whatever, and scroll down far enough, you'll find it. But there's a video of Sally getting bit by Mia on the bite suit in her scooter and her wheelchair. And Mia is so nice and so gentle, you know, and like compared to those dogs. Like it was
even her in her gentle state. Was pulling me around like a rag doll. Yeah. You had to physically hold me back in the chair. Yeah. So
it's night and day, no comparison.
Wow.
Yeah. So nothing new is happening in your world?
No, not really.
Nothing personal? The driveway?
Well, nothing to do with Sul. But
He's been a good boy this week?
He's doing a lot better, bless him. No, we had
crime.
We had some crime.
Woke up one day and her truck was gone.
Oh my gosh. So because the weather's been so bad anyway and cold that we don't go too far.
Right.
Didn't go out the front of the house. Of course we opened the back door because the dogs need letting out.
Right.
I hadn't got to a point where it was time to walk Sul. Zach goes out on errands, comes back. So he actually left the house.
And he's in your van for
in
the
my
errands.
van. He says, I'm taking your van. My truck doesn't have any gas in it. I'm like, okay.
Oh, so they probably didn't even get far of stealing
I don't know. But anyway,
It'd be crazy if you found it like at the end of the neighborhood or like somewhere tucked in the neighborhood or something.
They've gone around the corner.
Broke down.
Yeah. But so goes out, comes back and he's like, did you lend my van to someone? I'm like, no.
You mean the truck?
The truck. Sorry, here's the van. Did you lend my truck out? And I'm like, no, I didn't. He says, well, my truck's not there. I'm like, what do you mean your truck isn't there? Yeah, his truck wasn't there.
Yep.
It's been stolen.
Just stolen.
And he hadn't even noticed.
Yeah. Good old Memphis for you.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we hope we find it. It would be crazy though if you just like drove around the neighborhood and like they were looking for other cars to break into or steal from, in his truck, and then it just like put it out
because there's no gas.
That'd be crazy.
You steal it and then you think
that's actually not a bad idea.
You think, oh my God, we've stole this and now we've got to go and put gas in it.
Yeah. That's honestly not a bad idea though too. It's like maybe go check the BP cameras like overnight.
Yeah.
See if
anybody.
Because that's the closest gas station to y'all's house. Is that PP?
Straight down the.
Anyways, we're crime solving. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we're crime solving instead of dog solving.
Back to the show. All right, let's talk about crate training.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about crate training. Okay. So, I guess we should probably start out with just like why the crate's important overall,
Yeah.
And it's important for a number of reasons, especially like when your dog's like younger and stuff, you know, like you don't use one for Lenny. I never used one for Mia. So it's like not necessarily important.
I tried Lenny.
I bet he freaked out.
But he freaked out.
I bet he did, yeah.
And whenever I came home, the bottom of the crate was just like swamped with just
slobber and saliva and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about somehow to fix that too a little bit today. But anyways, why it's important. I would say the number one thing is I guess it's kind of when you put your dog in there. Like most people put their dog in the crate like overnight or when they're not home or not awake, right? Like those are the two main times. Now, some people use it for downtime. Some people use it as a punishment, different things like that. But the main two times that your dog's going to be up in the crate is going to be overnight and when you're not home, not awake. And I'd actually probably flip those. I'd say the main one's going to be when you're not home, not awake, because a lot of people let their dogs sleep with them overnight, right?
Yeah.
And so... But in terms of why it's important, I would say number one is the big one is just protect your house, right? Because like a lot of people don't want their couch cushions to be deep fluffed, right? Or they don't want their baseboards to be tuned up, or their remotes, or their controllers, or their glasses, or their boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing. No pain there.
No pain. No pain.
Anyways, and so a lot of people, and so the big one is just protect your house, but also protect the dog too, right? Because like if they can get into stuff, they can tear stuff up, they can get on the counter and eat a whole bunch of food or whatever it is, like that's not going to be good for the dog, right? Or could be potentially harmful. So that's going to be the main reason I'd say is like protect the dog and protect your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Other main reasons that it's kind of important is like during the potty training process and the puppy raising training process, using a crate's really important. One, for protecting your stuff, but then also two, to help out with potty training, right? Yeah. Because if you can't supervise your dog 24/7, it's like, well, they're going to sneak off and like go potty and stuff, right? Yeah. Especially once they start getting a little bit of like, okay, I'm supposed to go outside. So they start slinking off to other rooms to go potty or whatnot. So a big one is going to be like puppy raising and puppy training and then potty training, right? Yeah. And then the last one I had was just like the kind of why it's important is just really, I think as humans and handlers and owners and stuff, it's good to give us downtime, right? Where if the dog like, having a dog that's under 2 years old can be a lot sometimes, especially having a puppy too. Like a puppy, I always tell people, like one of our big human goals for training is like give people like peace of mind and confidence. Yeah. And then I translate that for him. I'm like, well, what does that actually mean? It's you don't have to think about the dog so much, right? Yeah. Because when you have a dog that's 6 months or a year old or even a puppy, it's like you're always thinking about the dog. What are they doing? Especially when they're untrained. After training, not so much, right? That's the big goal. But it's where are they at? What are they doing? What are they getting into? I'm opening the door to grab an Amazon package. Oh my God, I can't let the dog slip out behind me. I'm letting somebody in. I got to put the dog up or hold the dog so it doesn't go out, right? Yeah. So overall, I would say just give the human downtime, right? Like if you get home from work, you walk the dog, you're eating dinner or whatnot, and like then the dog's like doing their zoomies or whatever it is, like after that, and you're like, man, I just want to chill for a few minutes. You can put the dog up, right? And there's no need to feel bad about that. I tell owners that all the time. Is like you can put the dog up, and like you don't have to feel bad. And another alternative here would just be put them in the crate or place them or something. But you can use the crate for that. And that's a big one, is just giving the humans downtime. Using it as a way to tell the dog, like, hey, settle down, right? And then you can come out when you're settled, right? Yeah. And so kind of using it for downtime for us, but also downtime for them, right? To settle their energy down and stuff. And then whenever they're better, then we can let them out and take them out and things like that, right? Overall, I'd say that's like the big kind of like why it's important for the most part. Yeah. And then I guess the next one I'd probably jump into is like when to use the crate. And once again, I mean, I've kind of already said these, but when you're not home, so long periods of time. Yeah. So, and by long periods of time, it depends on the age of the dog. Like a long period of time for a puppy would be you're out of the house for 15 minutes. Like they can tear up a lot of stuff in 15 minutes or something really important in 15 minutes. Yeah. The dog's like 2 or 3 or something like that and much more settled and calm and mature and stuff like that. A long time might be a full work day. You might be fine like leaving a run and go grab groceries and leaving them out, but they might not be fine with a whole work day because it might be chewing stuff up or whatnot, right? So when you're not home, overnight, like I said, if you don't let your dog sleep with you, and a lot of our clients do, and the people that we talk to do let the dog sleep with them, but if you don't do that, and your dog's getting up and down in the middle of the night, they're chewing stuff up, they're pottying the floor overnight and stuff like that, the only way to really fix that, other than like you being up with the dog, is to put the dog up, right? And can kind of confine the dog to a space. And then third one is once again for downtime, like downtime to say, hey, when you are being too much, you go in here for a little while, and then whenever you're settled, you can come out, right? It's like no different than putting like kid in a timeout or like making them like just go to the room for a few minutes to settle down. Hey, whenever you're cool, you can come back out and join the club, right? Yeah. Downtime for just like settling down and stuff. That would be, I'd say, like kind of why it's important and like when are the primary use cases for a crate, right? A lot of people, I mean, another big one too that I didn't write down here when I was making my notes for the show, but like another one is just like medical recovery, right? So like a lot of dogs, that get rescued have heartworms, and they've got to be in the crate for a while because they've got to go through their heartworm treatment. Or if your dog gets neutered or something like that, or spayed, like they can't be up and down and running around and jumping and stuff, even though they want to and they feel fine, they can't do that, right? So we have to kind of confine them a little bit more to say, hey, you got to settle to you're better, right? I forgot to write that one down, but that's another big one. As like another big kind of use case for that is like, Anyways, so that would be, I'd kind of say is the when and the why. I guess any feedback on any of that?
Well, I started crate training the very first, the second night I got Sully.
Right. Yeah.
And he slept in his crate in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But of course now he's older and we're not pottying and he does sleep with me. He loves going in it. I've never left the house and him not go in a crate.
Right.
So it's been really beneficial. But even yesterday, I used the crate when the police officers came over.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't want to put him in place and stay just in case I needed to concentrate. And he was quite happy and they stood right next to his crate, funnily enough, but he was really quiet. So, yeah, I benefit from crate for Sully every day.
Yeah, I'll say you had a really just good experience with that. That's not the normal normal training process for most dogs. A lot of dogs that first little bit kind of whimper or whine, or they're fine in the crate generally if people are home or overnight or whatnot. But then if people come over, the dog's so excited they're barking and stuff like that. So it's just one of a kind. I wanted to talk about a couple other things that just came to mind that I didn't write down originally. Was how long is too long to leave your dog in the crate? And then kind of just expectations in terms of age and stuff like that. So, I hadn't really come up with a rule of thumb for it, but a lot of people, whenever they get puppies, they have to wake up in the middle of the night to actually let the dog out in the middle of the night and stuff.
Yeah,
that's pretty common. So if you have to wake up in the middle of the night to let the dog out, then that's fine. The goal is for that to back away as soon as possible, where you can sleep overnight and the dog can sleep overnight. Some puppies though can just sleep overnight, and not have to wake up or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so in terms of how long though for the age or whatnot, I don't really know. I mean, I've heard a common rule of thumb is 1 hour for every month of age the dog is or whatnot. Okay. Up until probably 10 or 12, which I would say is starting to get to the probably too long point, right?
Yeah.
But expectations would be some people have to use a crate though, regardless, and they have to go to work, right? So it's if they go to work and they are gone from 8:30 to 5:30 or something like that because they've got a 9 to 5 and they leave 30 minutes before, get home 30 minutes after or whatnot. Yeah. Their dog's going to be in the crate. How many hours is that? That's 10 hours. Yeah. That's 10 hours, So even if your puppy's too young to be in the crate 10 hours and you're going to expect an accident, that just setting yourself up right for expectations. It's it's probably going to be a few months until your dog doesn't do that during the workday or whatnot, And so you've got to kind of set yourself up for expectations properly. In terms of too long, when it's too long to leave your dog in the crate, I'd probably say for me, I would try to not shoot for anything more than 10 hours if possible. When possible, there's gonna be some emergencies where I don't know, you got to take somebody to the hospital or whatnot. And you can't get home for 12 or hours or 18 hours or whatnot, and it's that day is gonna suck for the dog, but it is what it is. Yeah. But generally speaking, I would say try to not leave your dog in the crate more than 10 hours. And if you could do it for less, of course, do it for less.
Absolutely.
However, that'd be where I'd say that'd be kind of starting to push the limits. And 12 would be my max, where it's you need to have somebody come out and let the dog out. If you're gone for work for 12 hours or whatnot, you need to have a dog walker come over. You need to have a friend come over and let the dog out or something like that. Because that's just too long. That's a very long time to just sit in the crate or whatnot. So I would say 10 hours would be kind of my personal max or whatnot. And then, 12 hours would start to be where I'd say hey, get somebody to come over and let the dog out for you or something like that. Or take your lunch break and drive home, and let the dog out real quick or something, just because that seems really, fair to the dog or whatnot. And like I said, there's crazy stuff that pops up every now and then where your dog might have to be in the crate longer, but just do your best to not let that happen basically.
Yeah.
Anyways, I guess that was a couple notes that I thought of, I guess, before we actually jumped into the training piece that I wanted to talk about or whatnot.
So I didn't have this issue, again, very fortunate, but if your puppy's getting you up in the night to potty,
right,
would you suggest that they go out and they bring them straight in and the puppy goes straight back into the crate?
Yeah.
And you go to sleep, no
100%.
playtime?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I was probably going to mention that somewhere, but yeah, I would, if you've got a puppy and you're having to wake up overnight or they're whining overnight to let, it is, I will always say, in my experience, if your dog wakes you up in the middle of the night to go potty, it is best, no matter how tired you are, to get up and let the dog out. Because if you don't and they're in a crate, they're going to potty, and then you got to clean up not only the dog, but the crate.
Yeah.
If they're out, like Mia, if she's got, a upset stomach or something like that, and she's whining at the door, and I wake up and I'm like, man, there's only been one time ever where I'm like, you can hold it, for an hour. And then she didn't. And then I woke up to poop. And then next thing you know, it's this is terrible. So if your dog ever wakes you up, I'd definitely say always let them out. But yeah, I would just put the dog on a leash, take the dog out. And the reason I'm putting it on a leash is because I don't want it to be playing, right?
Yeah,
I don't want the dog to be playing at the time.
Business,
yeah, go out,
in.
do your business, come back in. And I try to do minimal talking. So it's like, I'm not, hey, buddy, how are you? I'm nothing like that. And I'm not, and the reason I'm not letting the dog free once again is because I don't want him running around the yard. I don't want him having fun because I do not want to reinforce, yes, you can wake me up at 3 a.m. to let you out to go potty.
Play.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. So I would leash the dog up, take him out, do your business, come right back in, no talking. The only time I might talk would be if I was telling the dog like good boy or good girl, and then maybe their potty commands like go potty or go pee, go poop, whatever the word is that you're using. I might do that, but I'm not talking
Not
to the
engaging
dog.
in fun time.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Overall, in terms of like crate training itself, there's kind of a handful of like different things you can do. I mean, number one, in terms of like size of the crate that you need, generally speaking, once the dog's fully grown, you want the dog to be able to stand up and spin around in the crate. Like that's kind of the ideal size, like be able to stand up and then spin around in the crate. So that's kind of the size of it. So assuming that your crate's the right size, when it comes to placement, where do you put it? You can kind of pick, honestly. I mean, some people put it in the family room, like in the living room where the dog is like still social even when they're out in the crate. Some people put it in the laundry room and the dog kind of has like the crate in the laundry room and then they graduate from like being in the crate to being just in the laundry room or something like that. Some people put it in their bedroom right next to their bed so the dog's like sleeping right next to them in the crate. I don't really personally have a preference. I've always, when I used a crate, kept it in my bedroom and Mia slept in it. She didn't sleep in it often, but like whenever she did those first like 2 years of her life or whatnot, she did sleep in the crate next to me. Well, her crating was kind of varied, but like it was always in my room. Like if I had to choose, it was always in my room. If your dog's loud and keeping you up and you've got like enough room in your house to do it, I would always say put them on like the other side in a laundry room or something like that. If they're like really loud and keeping you up at night, ideally somewhere where the noise is going to be dulled. So if like it is a laundry room, where there's like clothes hanging up or whatever, drying or whatever it is, hopefully that'll absorb some of the sound and not just keep you up all night, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
But yeah, I'd say general placements would be in your bedroom, like next to your bed or just in the bedroom somewhere in the, kind of common area of the house. And then third would be in some sort of like separated room or closet or, laundry room or something like that. Those would be the general placements for it. So assuming like you've got the right size and you've picked a place that seems good for you and your family, like how do you actually do it? Well,
can I ask you something on there? I've got a question. So some of the crates are actually on wheels that you can lock. Is it better to have the crate always in the same place, as in like you put it in your bedroom and even if you go out, they stay in the bedroom?
Right.
Or would you like put it in the bedroom at night and then wheel it into the family room for daytime? What's your thoughts on that?
I've never really thought about it, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, you could move it around though if you wanted to. I mean, it's just like a place, like you can make it anywhere. You can put it anywhere.
Okay.
I imagine the only downside of maybe moving it would just be if the dog's used to the routine of it being somewhere and then it's somewhere else or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like it might know that like whenever you go in your bedroom, it's like great time, I'm going to sleep or whatnot, right? And then you move it out to the living room and now it's in the living room and it's like, hey, well, I'm up, and I see my humans, they're right there. Let me bark, and so you might get some like different like behaviors that come up as a result of moving it around the house and stuff like that.
Yeah. Because I did leave. Sully was always, even when I went out, the crate was in the bedroom and he would go there. But now I've bought this huge giraffe size crate. That's in the like main living area.
Right.
And of course he only goes in there when I go out or I put him in for some time out. But yeah, I've never moved them.
Yeah.
I just wondered because some of these crates have
Most of the crates that people have, though, don't have wheels. We're just the ones that have them on wheels. But yeah, most people's crates that I've seen over the years don't have crates. Yeah. There's a handful that are like nicer, that are like, steel bars kind of thing, like that are like a little bit more firm and sturdy that have wheels on them and stuff. But for the most part, most people's crates don't have wheels. Anyways, like how to actually like make your dog like the crate and want to be in there. I'd say overall, just like make it somewhere that's like enjoyable to be for the most part, right? Like there's some asterisks to this, which we'll go over in a minute, but like make it kind of soft. Like some dogs, I've met dogs in the past before because like, I don't know, when I first became a dog trainer and I got Mia, I was not like I guess you could say like maybe a softer, like, just pet dog trainer or whatnot. I thought of like her as like a working dog, and I was around mostly working dogs and stuff. So I was just like, hey, you just go in the crate and like go to sleep, right? But now, I've met a lot of families over the years that's like they put, blankets and crates in there. And if I was putting me in a crate these days, I'd definitely put a blanket or a crate, or not a crate, sorry, a blanket or a bed in there, right? However, I've met dogs before that like will freak out in the crate if it's just the crate, but as soon as you put a blanket in there for them to sleep on, they go to sleep just fine, and so making it soft can make a big difference, right? Making it soft and enjoyable can make a big difference. So make it comfortable, like by putting a blanket or a bed in there or something like that. Next one is just going to be like give them some toys in there and stuff. Just give them some toys, like something to chew on, something to play with, things like that when they're actually in the crate. You can put their food in the crate as well, and start feeding them in the crate. That's another way to like just build good rapport, like from your dog to the crate or whatnot, is just putting the food in there where they start creating positive association. Hey, this is where I go to eat. This is where I go to sleep, things like that. And they start to ideally really like that space, right? You can put some water in there for them too. Only downside to water is that, if they spill it, then they're going to get wet and stuff like that. And long term, that could cause hot spots or just be annoying for you, the owner. But yeah, generally just like make it like nice and comfortable and stuff. Other little tips, you could put a blanket over it, to kind of like, I think it's called bird caging, where you make it like kind of like a den where they're, in like an enclosed area or whatnot, especially if you have like a wire crate or something that's like a bit more exposed, you can put a blanket over it and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing some stuff. There are a couple other things I thought of that I wanted to add, but forgot. Anyways, what were you going to say? You looked like you wanted to say something.
What about, I've heard, I can't even remember where I heard it from, but for like helping them settle, if you gave them like a piece of clothing that you don't wear and it's got your smell on.
Maybe.
Is that just a bit of a like old wives' tale?
Maybe. We're trying. I mean, Sully still carries around his mom's the little toy that his mom and brothers and sisters sent was on and stuff like that. So
I doubt there's any of that scent left, but he loves that baby.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you could do stuff like that. I mean, there's a million different little tips you could do and stuff. I was just kind of giving like the main ones.
Yeah.
Another thing I was going to say too is just associating some sort of positive special treat whenever your dog gets in the crate too. That's what I meant to add was like, if you are used to using their kibble for training or maybe some other treat, maybe on top of the crate or something like that, you've got a special treat or like a bone, like a bully stick that they get whenever they actually go in there to like, once again, just create positive associations with the crate. That's the big idea. It's like we want to have more positive in the piggy bank than negative in the piggy bank, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
Whenever we're crate training and just making them enjoy the crate, like the crate.
So 2 things, again, just popped into my head.
Yeah, go ahead.
So do they get in the crate before you give them the treat, or do you put the treat in there so they go in for the treat?
In the beginning phase, I might say that I would start by tossing it in there to get them to go in, and then I'd pair the word with them actually going in there and stuff, and then eventually it'd be like, I'd say crate or kennel or whatever it is, and then once they go in there, then I'd feed them. Yeah.
Okay. And then my other question was, if you were to feed them in there so they've got that positive association, would you close the door or would you leave the door open so they can go in, eat, and come out again? It
depends. If I was feeding them their food and I didn't care if they came out after, I'd probably keep it open or whatnot. Because, I mean, I guess you could really take this in like a number of different directions. There's a lot of people that say just like let them go in and out a bunch of times. I definitely think it's helpful for teaching the word like kennel and crate and stuff like that. But at some point they've got to go in and like stay in, right?
Yeah.
So I do think it's helpful to get them used to the door being closed and things like that. Yeah. Another big tip on this one is like once you actually do finally start closing the door on the crate and like you're out of the room or whatnot, if your puppy's like whining, crying, barking, things like that, don't let them out until they stop, right? Because if you go in there and you let them out, then that's going to reinforce barking, whining, crying.
They're going to come and get me.
The downside though is that like, let's say that like we've got barking on a scale like 1 to 10, right? So like 0's over here, 10's over here. Let's say that they start by barking on like a level 2, right?
Yeah.
Next time that you let your dog out, they're going to start by barking on a level 2. And then, but if they don't get it right away, then they're probably going to go up to like level 3, 4, 5, things like that, right? And so it's always going to get worse the more that you do it, right? And so it's important from early on to like, if you put your dog up, keep them up until you actually let them back out of the crate, right? That's the big idea.
Gotcha.
Is you got to like keep them up. And then once they're quiet, you can actually go in there and reward them with freedom by letting them out for being quiet and settled and stuff like that. That's a really good reward for being settled is freedom and being able to like run and, be free out of the crate, things like that, right? Any feedback or thoughts on that one? Anything else?
No, it just took me back to Mabel. Mabel loved her crate. And Mabel would actually, if I left the door open, she would actually go in there and settle herself during the day and have a sleep and come back out.
There's a lot of dogs that really like their crate.
Yeah, she loved it.
Yeah, there's a lot of dogs that really like their crate. Okay. Next one I was going to talk about is like pottying in the crate, like how to get that to stop. Different schools of thought here. My big one is like once the crate's really clean, I would say start feeding your dog in the crate because dogs don't like peeing and pooping where they eat, generally speaking. Next one would be, that would be like my big one. It's like once it's all clean, feed them and water them in there. Dogs don't like peeing and pooping where they eat. Next one would be, if your dog is like mostly like peeing in the crate, then I would say, and you can kind of start, because the big thing here is like look at the time, like when it's generally happening, and then start isolating it to like specific things so we can do specific things. So if like your dog's like pottying overnight in the crate, like peeing, not pooping, but like peeing in the crate or pooping, you can kind of do either one. But I would say if that's the case, then I'd probably, let's say I'm going to bed at 10, I'd probably feed the dog at like 6 and maybe take up water at like 7. Or something like that, you know, so I can get my, their last poop out at like 9 and 10, and then like hopefully get their last pee out right before bed too, right?
Yeah.
If they're pottying during the middle of the workday or something like that, then I might like feed and water like early. I might wake up at like 6 or something, like feed and water the dog, and then right before then, like, and then I'd take up water, and then like after work hours or whatnot, then I'd give them, water and food for a while, and I'd let the water stay down and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So you want to kind of isolate to like when the problems are happening, and then like start working to make it where the problems, aren't like look at what variables you could change. So it could be taking the food up, could be taking the water up, things like that. Other ones, it's like if you've got a big crate, like let's say that you've got a Sully sized dog, right? So you've got, a dog that's going to grow up to be like 80 pounds. And so you start with a crate that's like for a dog that's like 80 pounds. Real quick, when it comes to like buying a crate too, if you know your dog's going to be 80 pounds, don't buy them a tiny puppy crate. Go ahead and buy them a big crate that they can grow into, because a lot of times they come with dividers, especially if you get like one of the wire ones. And I'd say like 80% of our clients have wire crates to start with. Buy a crate that's going to be big enough to divide up that they can grow into, because if not, you're going to buy like Sully's growing, like you would have to bought 3 crates, right? To have him. You would have had to have bought 3 crates at this point to like, if you bought him a puppy crate and then a middle crate and like now his full grown crate, like you'd have bought 3 different crates. And I see people do that. There's just no need for that. So buy a big crate they can grow into, get a divider for it, especially if you're using a wire one. Now, assuming you're like 80% of our clients and you're using a wire crate or whatnot, what I would suggest is like, there's 2 schools of thought. One is make the crate smaller, the dog's not going to want to pee and poop where they stay, right? If like it's a big crate and I cut off 2/3 of it and they're only on one third of it, they're not going to pee and poop where they stay, right?
Yeah.
Some puppies will. Even if you would go back to the last tip, which would be like, okay, we'll start isolating the time, start like taking up poo or water earlier, stuff like that, right? But some puppies will. And so like another option would be take the divider out. If you know that your dog's going to potty in the crate and like you've tried some of the other stuff and they're still going anyways, make the crate big enough to where they could potty on one side of it and then stay on the other side of it. Like put a pad down on one side, on half of it, and then leave them out to like live and not live, but like sleep and stuff on the other half, right? Where they're not going to be covered in pee and poop, right? That's the idea there. And so that would be, when it comes to like dividers, it's either like, I would start with the divider personally and like feed in water and the dog in the crate. I'd start by putting a divider in there, doing all the regular crate training steps, things like that. Yeah. And then if that didn't work and the dog was still going, then I'd take the divider out and give the dog a bigger space. Gotcha. Another option too is you could just get a playpen. You get a playpen that's big enough and then like put a pad on one side and then, and I'm not a huge fan of dogs using pads in the house because I think it reinforces dogs going in the house. I'm just saying if your dog's going in the crate anyways, it's like, well, let's play ball and like at least make it easier on you to like not have to, clean the dog every day, wash the crate every day, things like that. You know? And so, like I said, I'm not a big fan of reinforcing bad behaviors like peeing in the crate or in the house, but these are options that if it's happening, this is some stuff you could do basically. Yeah. Not by any means recommending that. Did you have something for that?
I think that would be a good one for people that are having to leave them in the crates for, long periods. Like work hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that is a good one for people that are like working longer hours and like you do have to leave your dog in the crate. Yeah. Another option too is like if you can afford it, like you have the money for it, I'd say just get somebody to come out and let the dog out and walk your dog and stuff
that
for
would be
too.
My preference, to give them a break, give them some stimulation.
If possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess what to talk about for dogs that like just don't like the crate or whatnot. I guess that's kind of like the next topic. So I would say there are some dogs, you got really lucky that just your dog loves the crate. He's fine being in there. He's quiet. He's a good boy.
Yeah.
Mia, on the other hand, is the opposite. Hates the crate. Always hated the crate. Never liked the crate, right?
Yeah.
And some dogs are just like that. And like Mia, I would say on the spectrum of like hates the crate is not nearly as bad as some dogs, because there's like some dogs that will like literally eat it and destroy it to get out of it, right? And then there's some dogs that just don't like being in there. They'll be loud, they'll scratch at it, things like that, but eventually they'll settle down. Mia's in that camp. Like, she doesn't like it. If I leave her in there, she's going to bark, she's going to scratch at it, but eventually she will settle and quiet down and go to sleep. Some dogs like literally cannot rest in the box for some reason. So dogs that don't like it, one, I'd go back to the beginning of this episode and I would try all the nice stuff first. I would say like putting a bed in there, feeding them in there, treating them, training them, things like that. I would start there first and foremost. If that's not the case and your dog just doesn't like the crate, if you like your dog's like me, they're just going to bark and scratch at it a little bit, and then eventually they settle down. Like the first like 10 minutes they're in there, and then they settle down, they just crash. That's fine. Just put them somewhere, ideally where you can't hear them or it's not going to be as loud. Put a blanket over it, things like that. But I'd say try all those first tips. Even if I do all that stuff, Mia doesn't like the crate. Just doesn't like it. Doesn't like being in there. If your dog has got some sort of like and like fortunately, there is a camp of dogs out there that does not like the crate and can be just left out, and they're not going to destroy stuff. And if your dog's in that camp, that's even better, because then you could just leave your dog out. Small note on phasing the crate out. I personally went and recommend this for clients is like start with the crate, like whatever room it's in. Like if it's in your bedroom, for example, or a laundry room, start them in the crate and then upgrade from like the crate to just the room they're in. So like me, I went from my crate to just my bedroom. A lot of families go from crate in the laundry room to just having the laundry room. And then eventually they can just be left out or something like that. Now Mia's just out at the house whenever I'm gone, and she's fine for the most part. But that would be kind of how you'd kind of phase the crate out. Now, going back to dogs that don't like it. If your dog just doesn't like being in there, and they're, like I said, barking, scratching at it, whatever it is, just put it ideally somewhere where it's like not going to be super loud. The noise is maybe dulled. Like I said, a closet or something like that, that'll kind of absorb some of the noise because of the shirts in there and stuff, that'll absorb some of the sound. Putting the dogs in there and doing something like that, that would be my first suggestion. If you've got one of the severely like anxious dogs that doesn't like being in there, that's a tougher one to fix, like even as a trainer. But we do have some solutions. They're just not super fun, right? First, you might consider going to the vet and getting your dog checked out and just like making sure everything's okay, right? That would be a good thing to start with. And you could try like some pharmaceuticals, like some sort of like, I don't know, doggy pill to make them like settle down. You could try some like CBD, some like hemp chews, something like that. I'd still say try all the fun stuff first, but like dogs that really hate the crate just that much just don't like it anyways. Normally in my experience, like with dogs like this, and I don't start this way with dogs, but I normally will use some sort of remote collar to start tackling behaviors one at a time, like related to the crate. So if like they're eating the crate, what I normally do, I'll start with like, because the dogs are fine for the most, like they're fine dogs. They just don't like being in the crate.
Just don't want to be in the crate.
And so I'll start with the remote collar in like our normal way. I'll make it fun first, and then we'll do a bunch of stuff and make it fun for the dog. Then we'll start layering it as a correction or whatnot. And I'll start with tackling like one behavior at a time. So we'll put the dog up, and let's say that we've got our 0 to 100 scale, right? If 100 is like biting at the bars, scratching, barking, making terrible noises, whatever it is, like that, to say they don't want to be in there, I'll start with like, I'll try to just knock it down to like 90 or 80 or something like that with the remote collar. And then I'll let the dog out to reward the dog, right? And so I start just chunking the behaviors down. So like, let's say it's like biting the bars. Well, I'll put the dog in there and like they'll start barking, and then they start going for the bars. Well, I'll tap on the collar, like vibrate or stem the collar for biting the bars. And then from there, once the dog pauses, I'm not looking for the dog to be good for 10 minutes. It's like as soon as they stop and they're good for like 15, 20, 30 seconds, something like that, I'll go in there and I'll let the dog out, right? And I'll feed the dog and I'll reward the dog for stopping that one behavior, right? Then I'll put him back in there again, do the same thing, right? And so the idea is just to start chunking down those behaviors one at a time, right? Because a lot of times with these dogs that are severely anxious, and like I said, this is not fun. This is not like a super pretty thing to do. It's not fun. However, a lot of the times, if you can stop these bad behaviors like the barking, the scratching, the chewing, the biting at the bars, the like gnawing on themselves, things like that. If you can stop all those other, because those behaviors just start going in like this crazy hyperloop that makes it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and it just gets terrible. If you can stop those behaviors from happening, and just teach the dog, you don't have to like the crate, but you at least have to be in here, right? And you can stop all the behaviors along the way. You'll get a dog that's much more settled. And like I said, it's not fun. I've done it with a number of dogs over the years, though, and it does work. It's just not a fun way to go about training.
Yeah.
Now, for that style of training, you have to actually be there, like with the dog. Now, you can maybe do this quite literally if your dog will do it with you in the room. Like I met a dog the other day, hates being in the crate, will bark and do all those same things with the owner in the room and with the owner out of the room, right? So if you can do it when you're in the room, great. If the dog won't do it in the room, though, you're going to have to like FaceTime, like get 2 phones, FaceTime it, and set one up where you can actually watch the dog or something like that. And then from there, then you'll start, working it down. But you start chaining down those behaviors. If you're not on board, and I would say if you're going to do that, hire a trainer to help you do that, right?
Yeah.
Because once again, like I said, it's not fun. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to fix, but it is fixable. There is hope for that.
Yeah.
But it's not great, Yeah, it's not a super fun thing to do. But it does work, and it will get your dog to settle down because, like I said, it's not the dog. We have to teach the dog, like, hey, even though you don't like the crate, you have to be okay being in there, all right? And like I said, if we could start chopping these behaviors down, like one at a time, like the biting at the bars or the scratching or like the, trying to like gnaw on themselves because they're so like nervous about being in there. I don't actually know if I've really seen that personally, but I've heard of that in crates, like where dogs will like start, gnawing on themselves or like self-mutilating almost.
Yeah.
I've never personally seen that. I've seen dogs that really hate being in the crate and they'll bite the bars, they'll scratch, they'll eat the stuff in the crate, pull stuff through the crate. I've seen stuff like that. I don't know if I've ever actually seen self-mutilation, but I've heard of it. If that's the case, you might just go to the vet.
Yeah.
But
there's more severe behaviors there, isn't there, really?
Yeah.
Got to that point.
But anyways, all that being said, but like I've taken dogs that like hated being in the crate and they might still not like the crate, but they're at least like decent and quiet in the crate and like, they're under. Another big one too, and I don't know how I forgot to write this down because I have to say it all the time. If your dog doesn't like being in the crate, don't watch them on a dog camera not liking being in the crate. Like, we've got all these people that have got all these Furbos and stuff, or these like Vivint cameras or whatever it is, like, posted to their dog in the crate, and the dog's like restless in the crate, and so they're out in public or they're working or something like that, and they're just watching the dog not enjoy their time, and so they're just thinking about the dog all the time, and it's like, stop doing that. Stop it. Like, just put the dog up and leave. Like, because here's the deal. If your dog doesn't like the crate, but it can't be out because it's going to chew your stuff up, they have to go in the crate regardlose. Like, whether they like it or they don't like it. Like, you can try all the stuff to make it fun, but if they don't like it, they don't like it. Like, there's just nothing you can do about that, right? But I see so many people that are like watching their dogs on a camera not like the crate. And it's like, why are you doing that to yourself? You're making yourself feel bad. Like, just enjoy your time. Enjoy the present. Like, be at work. Like, do your work well.
But the dogs also pick up on how you, as the owner, approach things, don't they? So if you're very apologetic for they're going in the crate, going, "Oh, baby, it won't be long. I'll be back soon."
Yeah. We talked about that on an episode a while back. Whenever we were talking about like a leaving routine, like
just
not
be
letting
assertive.
the dog.
It's no big deal.
Yeah, 100%. Just, hey, you're going up for a little bit. I'll be back in a little while, right?
Yeah.
Once again, if your dog doesn't like the crate, go back, try all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But if they don't like the crate, they don't like it. You can't,
Yeah.
like, some dogs, you can definitely change their mind and get them to enjoy the crate. But if they don't like it, like, there's no point in just sitting there and, like, watching your dog and feeling bad when you're at work or you're out in public with your friends or whatever because your dog doesn't like being in the crate. It's like, just put them up. They're going to go after a little while, they might bark and howl for a little bit, but they're going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
They're going to just settle down. They're going to go to sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I think that's most of the stuff. I mean, I had some different like types of crates, like talking about different types of crates and stuff like that. But I guess any thoughts, questions before I move on to like different types of crates and stuff?
No, I think that's been really useful information.
Yeah. Well, I hope it helps the folks out there.
We have so many people when they call talk about crate training.
Yeah, for sure. It's a big deal.
I've heard people say that, I think they're not being judgmental, but I think that they're not the most sturdiest of crates, when the tray comes out. And people have told me horror stories how the dogs actually got the tray from out of the crate and then walked across the floor with a crate in tow to wherever they're going, and it's at the opposite side of the room. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's funny. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know if I've heard that about the dog, like walking the crate around and stuff. I will say, so one of our employees, and she's in Florida. She was writing the newsletter. She posts stuff on like Facebook for us now, but she, her dog is on like bed rest right now for like some sort of injury or something. Anyways, she didn't buy him a crate though. She bought him a little playpen that's like a fabric playpen. So I don't know. It's probably like 3 or 4 feet wide by like 3 or 4. And it's probably in like the shape of like a hexagon or an octagon or something like that. And it's got a little top on it that you can like put them in there and like zip it up and stuff like that. I wish I maybe ask her if I could show the video off or something like that. But the dog's like literally like, he's not supposed to be moving. That's the whole point of bed rest. And he's like jumping and like bouncing the crate around. Like it's not a crate, it's a playpen, but he's moving around. He's like turning it over and like walking towards her and stuff like a hamster wheel. And like if you're on the phone with her and he's in the crate, he's just sitting there like barking at her, and she's like doesn't have the heart to like work on the barking or anything because she feels bad because he's already in the crate on bed rest, and like he'll be jumping or like moving around or something. She's like, stop, and he's just anyways, it's a mess, but it's really funny to me.
Yeah.
Probably not as much to her. She feels really bad about having to put them up. But
so she's bought a playpen out of guilt.
I don't know why she bought a playpen.
She didn't want
just get him a crate, but
yeah, she should just put him in a crate.
But like he's one that like because I don't even know how this works, but apparently him sleeping on a bed is going to like prolong his recovery or something like that. Like it's going to make his recovery longer. And so the vet actually wants him sleeping on like a harder surface, apparently, for some reason. I don't know how that works. That's what she said. The vet said. I don't know. I'm not a vet. I'm a dog trainer.
Interesting.
However, he's one of the dogs that will like whine and cry in the crate, but as soon as you put him a bed in there, he's cool. So I don't know how that works. But like I said, I've met some dogs that are like, freak out in the crate. But then as soon as you put a bed in there, they're like, oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll go to sleep. Me. Just need some comfort.
Yeah, exactly. So, I guess one last note I want to talk about was like, and we mentioned this on an episode a while back, but like using the crate as a punishment and like my thoughts on that and stuff. Generally speaking, I don't think you should use the crate as a punishment. Like, but depends on like your definition of punishment. I do think it's okay to make it a timeout for a little bit. Like if your dog's being crazy, they're getting into stuff, they're running around with stuff or whatnot. Put them in the crate as a way to calm them down, settle them down, and as like a little just like, hey, settle down. Once you're settled, you can come back. I don't think you should yell at your dog, get really upset with them for grabbing something they're not supposed to have, and then like put them in the crate forcibly, and or they're like, man, every time I get in trouble, I have to go in this box. That's not the idea. Yeah. There's a nice There's a nice way to like say, all right, hey, time to go out for a little bit, right? Yeah. And it's once again, we're using it as downtime for the dog and downtime for you, right? Yeah. So I don't generally think like I don't know. Let's say that I don't know. You're like old school potty training because I still meet some people that like will put the dog's nose to it and like pop them on the butt for it or whatnot, right? And it's like if you do that and then put the dog up, that's definitely unproductive. And it's probably going to create some negative associations with the crate, right? Yeah. So I don't think it should be used like that, but I do think you could use it during bad behaviors as a way to tell your dog down. Like, hey, it's time to have some downtime. Like just going too crazy in the house, jumping from couch to couch, jumping on people, grabbing stuff off the counter, pulling, running away. So, hey, all right, you're going up a little bit. You can come out again and you're chill, right?
Agreed.
Anyways, so that's my thoughts on using the crate as punishment. And once again, a lot of people whose dogs don't like it say to me, well, I don't want to put them in there as a punishment because I don't want them to not like the crate. And my response is normally, well, your dog already doesn't like the crate. So like you using it as a way to give your dog downtime is fine because your dog already doesn't like the crate. Like it already doesn't like it. So there's no harm in putting him in there for being terrible in the house, like stealing stuff or whatnot. Another option is just hire us and get your dog trained. So shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Anyways, any thoughts on that before we move on to like different types of crates and stuff?
No, but I'm excited about this next one because you said something the other day about crates, and I was like, oh, never thought of that.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of got this split into like two things. I've got like cheap and expensive and like soft to indestructible.
Yeah.
And those normally kind of are on the same like line of spectrum or whatnot. So in terms of cheap to expensive, you could go cheap and probably pay like $20 or $30 for a crate, maybe even less, especially if you buy one used, to like probably like hundreds and like $800 to $1,000+ if you're buying like an indestructible crate. Maybe they're more than that. I don't know. I've never really looked into one, but I know they're $700, $800, $900, maybe $1,000+ for some of them, especially if you have like a huge dog or something. Yeah. Speaking of real quick, I saw some people using the indestructible crates I'm talking about to relocate wolves and put them back in the wild or whatnot. So they've got these like 5 huge, they're called impact crates. They're these big metal crates and they collapse too. So they're really good for travel and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's like these 5 crates and they're like lined up kind of like this like semi U shape almost. And there's 5 wolves in there. And wolves are huge. They're massive, and like probably like triple the size of me. Like me is 50 pounds. I'm sure they're like $150. They're massive, massive.
Yeah.
They're not dogs. They're wolves. Anyways, but they let them out one at a time and they're running and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if it was at Yellowstone or Colorado or where it was, but it was like I guess the voter base like voted to like reintegrate wolves into nature or whatnot, And so anyways, but they're these huge impact crates, which are probably like $1,000. They're probably, those ones that are that big are probably like $1,000+.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Like I said, never looked into them. But anyways, in terms of like different types of crates, I'm sure I'm going to miss some here, but I'll just go with like the gist of them. So like on the cheaper, softer side, you've got like the playpen, like I was just talking about, like a fabric style playpen or whatnot.
Yeah.
I'd say it's going to be best for like maybe a calmer dog. They also fold up real well, so if you want to take it to a friend's house, you could. They're fairly good for travel.
Yeah,
that's probably gonna be good for like a small dog or a smaller dog that's also like calmer and maybe like chiller. Doesn't really work for the bulldog, the French bulldog I was just telling you about. Next up you've also got like, I'm gonna kind of include in that same like soft kind of crate category would be like a travel one that like you can put your dog in, or one also going to be mostly for smaller dogs. Yeah, you're not going to travel with the German Shepherd and like a inflatable cloth crate, not inflatable, but cloth crate. Then I'd say next one, like moving up maybe in price a little bit, but also still going to be on like the cheaper side, but also not indestructible, would be like a wire crate of some sort. They comes in all sizes. They come in all sizes. They've got, the tray in there normally or whatnot. They normally sometimes have a door on the side, sometimes have a door on the front. Yeah. That's what you're going to see at most pet stores. And I think pet stores like selling those because you can fold them up into boxes so they can save up more room for like inventory shelving and stuff. I think that's why there's been, because back in my day, like I feel like everybody had plastic crates like when I was a kid, but like now everybody's got wire crates and stuff. And I imagine that the big reason for that is because it doesn't take up nearly as much space on shelves because you can fold them up and put a lot more on a truck or on a box or on a shelf or whatever it is, right? Anyways, those are okay. That's what, like I said, 80% of people use. And if your dog works with that, awesome. Yeah. Then you've got like, I would say plastic crates. Now there's all sorts of variations. Like I would say in between plastic and wire, like we have one that are like harder wire crates. Like this is the one that I gave you originally whenever you got sold.
I loved mine.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
But that would be like a harder, it's got more like bars, like square bars on the end.
Very, very sturdy.
They are collapsible, but there's also like screws that go into them to like make them collapsible and take it, take it out there on wheels, things like that. It's also got a tray. So those are wire, but they're like harder wire and they're a little bit more reinforced and sturdy, right? Yeah, and that one's also on wheels. Then you've got like plastic crates. Plastic crates, that's what, like I said, I grew up with having as a kid. So that's kind of just the crate I prefer, honestly. I'm sure wire crates, like I said, are fine. If I was buying a crate for my dog, I'd probably go with like a plastic crate. But there's just a crate that, plastic's got holes on the side of it, got a door on the front of it that you can open up. They've got different types of doors where you could twist it, you could pinch the lock on it, you could take the whole door off some of them.
They're great for cleaning it as well, though, because you take the top half off.
Yeah.
Hose them down.
I've always found it annoying to take them apart in half, but yes, I'm scooting my skill this way. Then on the next one, you've got like a more like reinforced plastic. This would be like the kind of crates a lot of like my trainer friends use. This brand, the brand that I'm thinking of that is probably best represented in this kind of plastic crate, and it might not be called plastic. It's maybe some other material, but it's called a Rufflin crate. A lot of my trainer friends like those a lot. I like those too. That's what I'm about to get for up here. But you can take the whole door off the front. They're like super, super sturdy. They're also crash tested proof too. So like if like they've like had people who's like unfortunately like wrecked their car with them and the dog inside of it, and like the car goes completely upside down and the car gets crushed, but the crate is fine and the dog's fine inside of the crate. So
that's awesome.
Sure, the dog's messed up psychologically.
Well, yeah,
but,
it's gone through an ordeal, but the crate's saved their life.
Yeah, so that's what I want to get for up here and like kind of what spawned the conversation. And the reason I don't like the ones that we have is because like what I'd said to you the other day that made you think was, they're a rectangle crate on wheels, but the wheels are fine. But it's a rectangle crate, and normally if the door is on the front, they'd be fine, but the door's on the side. And so if you get a dog that's longer than the crate is wide, it's tough because there's not really a ton of room to go into the side either way until they get their butt in and stuff. And so it's easier if like you've got a dog that's reluctant to go in the crate, if the crate is long ways and you can kind of like walk them in a little bit. Like you can kind of like line them up and then start using your knees to kind of like guide them into the crate. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so anyways, back to the Rufflins though. Those crates are great. Like I said, have a ton of trainer friends that use them. They come in all sorts of cool colors and stuff. But anyways, so those are great. That would be, like I said, like a real thick, heavy duty plastic. And that one's also crash proof too. Then The next one that I'd probably move to, I actually don't know, funny enough, don't know the prices of the rough ones, and I don't know the price of the next one either, but then there's a brand called like Gunner Kennels. Gunner Kennels are going to be like I think they're like a mix of plastic and metal, so it's like heavier duty, sturdier plastic, with like metal doors and like metal sidebars and stuff like that on the window area or whatever. Yeah. So anyways, Gunner Kennels. And then from there, you'd move up to like the next one, which would be like, and like all these, like I said, also not only are going up in price, but they're also going up in like terms of toughness and sturdiness, right? Too. Yeah. So then the last one I can think of, and there might be a brand that's better out there that's heavier duty than Impact Crates. That's the heaviest duty one I know. And so like for sometimes like for people that we were talking about, dogs that are like severe anxiety, hate being in the crate, they're willing to destroy crates, things like that, self-mutilate, all those just terrible things in the crate. Normally people would go to an Impact Crate. So it's like, and I've had to tell people that a number of times, like over the years, like you might do, like, I hate to say it, but like you're probably gonna have to spend, a little check and get a nice crate for your dog, because, you can't keep buying wire crates, and you can't leave your dog out, unfortunately, because these are also the same types of dogs typically that are like, not only do they not like being in the crate, but if they're out and they're just left alone, period, they're just going to tear stuff up because they're just so distraught. Not even upset. Distraught's the better way to put it. But anyways, Impact Crates, those ones are great. Like I said, they are these really nice, like steel, I don't know if it's steel, but they're really nice metal crates. And then you pop them up, you put a little bar on the side. Whenever you take the bar out, you can collapse them. They've got a handle on the side, so they're really good for traveling and stuff. They're also indestructible for the I might be using that word incorrectly, because I'm sure there's some dogs out there that have given them a run for their money. But from my understanding, it's like the toughest, heaviest, dudiest one that's out there. Yeah. And like I said, there might be a better brand out there, but those are the ones that I know of that are like, top tier crates, like Rufflin's, Gunner Kennels, Impact Crates.
Nice. Yeah. What do you think of these? We'll still class it as a crate,
right?
But I've seen, like, mainly on Facebook, where it's part of the furniture.
Oh yeah, I meant to mention those. Yeah,
you know what I mean? But people put like ornaments and things on top to make it look as part of the.
Yeah. If your dog is cool with it and you like it, do it. Yeah. I had a client the other day. She's got 2 huge dogs, and she's got 2 crates that like look really nice in her living room. I wouldn't call them like furniture. You can tell they're crates, but they look really pretty, and stuff. No, those are great. Those are awesome. Yeah.
I didn't know whether it'd be, we're saying like crate is pretty much their time out, if you like. But if you're using them as furniture and like you keep putting your coffee cup on top of it or something,
waking the dog up,
is that not?
I would say I'm glad you said that. I would say if you're going to get like a crate like that and you want to make it part of the furniture, let's make sure your dog likes being in there, first. So maybe start with one of the other types of crates that we just talked about, and.
Because I was going to be like, that's going to be like stimulation the whole time if you.
Yeah. Like these dogs that I was talking about, like she has 4 dogs, and like I was there for 2 of them, and the other 2 were like older and stuff. And she put those dogs up. And so they're just hanging out while we're sitting in the living room talking, And so anyways, in terms of like crate recommendation though, I would say if your dog is cool in a plastic or a wire crate, get a wire crate. If you want to get a plastic crate, do that. If you want to get a cooler, flashier crate, get one of the last 3 that I mentioned. Those are cool, they're flashy, and if people see those and they know anything about dog crates, they're going to know you spent some money on it, However, but if your dog's cool in a wire crate, get a wire crate. If you're cool with a plastic crate, get a plastic crate. If you've got a smaller dog, get a cloth playpen, travel kennel with them, whatever it is. You can.
If it does the job for your dog, then
who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Absolutely.
Anyways, that's it on crate training. I'm sure I missed some stuff, but overall.
Yeah, I thought of something and it's gone straight out the other side of my head.
That's not unusual.
I know. And I'm sure it was a really good question.
That was a joke.
Yeah, I can't. What was I going to say? That's going to annoy me now.
Yeah, it happens to me, unfortunately, all the time. And it annoys me a lot, too. Yeah.
Me too.
It's part of getting old. That's what they say, at least.
That was it. It's come back.
All right.
Okay. 2 dogs in a family.
Mm-hmm.
One needs to go in a crate, the other one doesn't.
But the one in the crate that needs it.
Okay, because that was a question that somebody asked about. Yeah,
you can leave it. You can.
She was like, but my other dog's out, and then I feel really guilty that dog's gone in.
Yeah. Once again, you shouldn't feel guilty.
Stop putting your own feelings on your dog.
Now, that does bring up a good one. If you got sibling puppies, separate the crates.
That is, there you go. That is a good one, isn't it? Don't crate them together.
2 dogs out of the same litter or they could even be same age, different breeders and stuff like that. But if they're, same age, like one's 3 months and one's 3.5 months or whatnot, separate crates for sure. It's going to be more common like litter mates because you don't want to cause litter mate syndrome, and like them sleeping apart from each other and eating apart from each other can be, doesn't have to be a scary thing, but it can definitely help out quite a bit with that. So yeah, if you've got 2 dogs in the same house, you can put one up, leave one out. But if you got 2 puppies, definitely separate crates.
Yeah.
Definitely separate crates. Because long term, what's going to happen is one's going to be okay being away from one, the other one's not going to be okay, being away. And
they rely on each other too much, don't they?
Can be very frustrating long term. Yeah. So I would say that. Anyways, should we do our segments? Because we're over an hour now.
Well, maybe we need to keep them for next time.
Give us the joke.
Give you the joke. Are you ready?
Give me the joke at least.
Okay. Here we go. This is a groaner, I think, rather than a chuckler. Why did the boy name his dog 10 miles?
I don't know.
So he could tell his gym teacher that he walks 10 miles every day.
Oh, that's good. That's funny. Okay, that actually is funny.
That's not too bad, is it?
Okay. Now, this one is not a dog joke, but
you got a joke?
I do. But I saw it. It was 2 labs on the video, and that's like the 2 labs telling each other the joke, and then the dog's laughing, but it's like panting as the laugh or whatnot. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Why do people in Greece not wake up before dawn?
People in Greece wake up. I don't know.
Because dawn's tough on Greece.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. Oh, nice.
It's so stupid, but it's so good.
That's a good one, though, isn't it?
My dumb jokes are better than your dumb jokes.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was pretty cool, actually.
You're supposed to be like, no, my dumb jokes are better than you. Okay, whatever.
No.
All right, never mind.
I thought that my joke was really good.
Yeah. You had 2 news stories. Which one's the most interesting?
I don't know.
Let's go to the dog perfume one.
The dog perfume. Okay, so I was doing news around the world, so let's make it quick.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dog news from around the world.
There we go. I'm your news anchor, Sally Harrison.
And I'm your news anchor, Corey.
And this is the news today. Dolce & Gabbana have launched a new dog cologne. It's $108, and it's called Fifi. And it's in honor of Domenico Dolce's poodle. Okay? So apparently it's doggy safe.
Okay. I would hope, at least, for a dog perfume.
Yeah, it's doggy safe. How can you say it's not tested on animals when it's for animals?
Did they say it's not tested on
No, that just came in my brain. I was like, I wonder if they're saying it's not tested on animals. That'd be hysterical. But anyway, that's another one. But vets have not approving of this.
Yeah. First, I want to say there's been dog cologne and perfume for a long time.
Has there really?
Yeah. Every time you go get your dog a bath, they hit it with like some spray after it. Or like before you pick your dog up, they hit it with spray. So that's been around for a long time.
Do they class that as doggy cologne though?
I don't know.
They
can call it whatever they want to. I'm just saying it's like the same. It's the same thing, like a spray to make your dog smell better or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So this is nothing new. It's from this brand. Small side note: I feel like 1 million dogs over the years named Dolce that were named after Dolce and Gabbana.
Yeah.
Never gotten a Gabbana.
Well, you had
somebody out there named their dog Gabbana and then circle back.
But you had a dog the other day that's called Prada, and it had its own little
Palda bag.
Yeah.
That was very cute.
That was cute.
Yeah. That
was cute.
Yeah, I got a big
But
Ken Corso.
I can imagine all these like.
You know how like they take the dog toys with like the brand names and like it'll look like a beer or something and it'll be like instead of a White Claw, it'll look like a White Claw, but it'll say White Paws or something like that. And so this was a Prada bag, but it was a Palda bag. And I was sitting there holding it next to Prada. It was very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can imagine, can't you, all these young females that are all decked out in their designer with their dog, with their cologne. Well, anyway, the vets are not liking it because, number one, it can cover up smells that need medical attention.
I think if something smells bad enough that it needs medical attention, you'd know.
You think it'd come through the smell? Well, it depends how bad this cologne smells. But anyway, but the other thing they were saying was dogs recognize their world through smell.
Yeah.
And putting all these colognes on them.
Yeah. I just thought of a good one.
Go on then.
If dogs could come up with their own cologne, what smell would they come up with?
Dog butt.
Okay, good. I was thinking deer shit or deer carcass.
Okay.
Because Mia, she sees a pile of poop, she's boom, crashing in it. Yeah.
So you don't have to buy it. You could just take her out and let her roll in it.
Yeah.
It's free.
Pretty much.
You wouldn't have to pay $108.
Sometimes when I'll leave her with my parents for a weekend or something like that, I'll come home and she'll have just rolled in chicken poop.
Nice.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Yeah. So she'd like a poop smelled cologne.
She'd like a poop
You know why
one.
dogs do that too? Like why they like cover up their, it's covering up their scent. They're covering up their scent.
Okay.
And it's like, you don't need to do that. You live in a house. You have no predators.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. There's no need for you to be covering up your scent. Everything is fine. In fact, we're going to cover it back up with some, honey smelling shampoo or whatever it is, and maybe some Dolce cologne.
We're going to use Dawn on you.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's my...
Because Dawn's tough on poop. Oh,
yeah,
there it is. There it is.
That's my news from around the world.
Yeah. Would you buy it?
No.
You buy Sully all sorts of silly stuff, so I just could see that.
Yeah, I do buy him silly... Well, what silly stuff do I buy him?
A pig costume.
Piggy outfit for Halloween.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
You know who really buys her dog silly stuff? Casey.
Casey puts it in clothes.
She's got the dog a backpack.
I shouldn't call it it. Elvis has clothes that match the children.
Yeah. And a backpack.
And a backpack. That's funny.
Yeah.
We don't have a backpack.
Yeah.
I ought to get him a backpack.
I remember one time when I can't remember if she was still in training, if it was after training or whatnot. I was at her house. I feel like I was doing something with Elvis, but she showed me she was about to have her first baby, and so she's getting like the nursery ready and stuff, like painting the walls, all the nursery stuff, right? She opens up the closet to show me the closet, and it's literally just dog outfits hanging on hangers in the closet, and it's like looked like baby clothes because a little T-shirt for a French bulldog and a French bulldog T-shirt and baby T-shirts don't look that different.
About the same size.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, this is incredible. I'm like, yeah, what a
Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to buy Sully full overalls just to let him out in the yard.
He would still find a way to get disgusting.
Well, he would, but it'd be on the overalls. But then I'd have all the hassle of getting the overalls off him to wash them.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. So I don't have overalls for him. He just comes in with muddy paws.
You know what'd be really cute is if Sully was in overalls and he had like a denim cap on or something like that, like an old farmer, like an old school farmer.
He needs some, some overalls. We call them dungarees, but yeah.
Okay.
Cuteness.
You want to hear something funny me and Daniel are thinking about doing? All right. So I've been focusing a lot on our marketing this year and stuff. And so one of the things we want to do is come up with like a couple like, I don't know, I guess you call them like commercials or whatnot. And so we want to get like a video of like an old man like driving down like a back road, like in like a Bronco or something like that with like his dog next to him or something like that. And like kind of have like a narrator going like, man's best friend with you for every adventure or something like that. And then he gets to where he's going and he opens up the door and the dog jumps out and just like takes off on him. And then like the record halts and goes, oh, something like that. And it's like, get your, if your dog's untrained, get your dog trained now or something like that. Or, an untrained dog, leads to frustration. I don't know. We hadn't come up with the script yet, but that's the gist of it. It's like old man in a truck, riding with like man's best friend or whatnot. And as soon as he gets the chance, he's like, see you, Dad. I'm out of here. Yeah. Because it's really funny, like dogs that, they've got the world, right? They've got like an air-conditioned house, no natural predators, food, water, a family that loves them, a bed, a crate, all the toys, all the stuff, right? And it's like as soon as the door opens, they get the chance. They're like, see ya, thank you. It's been fun. It's been real, but I'm going to go explore the world now. Thank you. Yeah. It's time for me to break out of here. So I think that's funny. Yeah. Anyways, I guess we should wrap the show up. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Yeah, and hopefully you learned something. If you have crate issues, try all the stuff we talked about today. Report back, let us know how it goes. If you know somebody that has a friend that needs a crate training video or podcast to help them out with their crate training with their puppy or new dog or their troubleshooting or whatnot, if you don't mind, send this episode to them. That would mean the world to us. And if you haven't actually subscribed to the show yet, we'd really appreciate that too. So click, like, subscribe, follow, all that kind of stuff. That would mean, like I said, the world to us.
Otherwise, you're going to miss out on jokes.
Yeah, jokes.
And more news from around the world.
Yeah, and let us know what y'all think about our segments. Jokes, dog news. My favorite one still is funny stuff we found on the internet, but it's tough to find funny dog stuff on the internet that's not videos or written stories. Soon enough, though, we might have some videos coming.
Soon enough, we'll be able to play some fun
soon
videos.
Enough, we might have some videos going. So anyways, all that being said, guys, thank you so much. And if you are on an audio platform, Spotify, Apple, Alexa, whatever it is, if you don't mind, just take a second to leave a 5-star review. That would mean the world to us too, just because that's really going to help boost us up in the algorithm. I know I'm making a bunch of requests. Share it with a friend, subscribe, rate the show. But once again, it helps us out. It only takes 30 seconds to do each one of them or whatnot, maybe even less time. So thank you so much. Anyways, that being said, if y'all need help with training, there's links below. You can call us for in-person training, and we got some online stuff too. So anyways, that's it. We'll see y'all later. Thank you so much. And bye-bye.
Bye.